Okay. So hey everyone, thanks again. This is Jamie McDonald from the Game Agency, and today we are going to be talking about the Training Arcade language translations. I'm going to be recording this, so I will send a video link out to everyone who is on the call. Thanks again for joining. For those of you who don't know much about the Training Arcade just yet, I'm going to just give you a quick overview. So the Training Arcade is a do-it-yourself SaaS solution. So it's essentially a platform that you can use to build your own games very quickly. You can use our back-end game authoring tool that we built and the library of games that we have in the platform to add your own learning content and publish the games out really fast. The purpose of the Training Arcade games are to be used as a knowledge reinforcement for your learners. It's to make the learning process more engaging. It's really to complement what you're currently doing with training. And then there's a really robust data analytics dashboard in the tool itself that also lets you track individual data, group data, and even segment it out by regions, countries, dates, etc. Many of our clients are in the healthcare space, in technology, in finance, retail, CPG, QSR, across the board are using it. And we're very proud to share that we've been recognized by the training industry as top 10 or top 20 authoring tools of 2018. The majority of our clients are using the games as part of either ILT training, large live events for like sales training, e-learning, and because we have a variety of different game mechanics in the platform, it is great to have the option to pick certain games that map better to different performance objectives that you're trying to achieve. So one more thing I'll mention real quick is that the games can be used for really any kind of training, whether it's onboarding new employees or it's customer service, it's sales and product training, compliance, safety, security, you name it. The games are all web-based, so they can be accessed across every device. So no matter what your users are on, they'll be able to access the games. And once you're done building the games, you can publish them out a number of different ways. So if you have an LMS, you can publish the games as a SCORM file and have them accessed through your LMS. If you're building courses, let's say in Articulate or Captivate or Lectura, you can embed the games as a web object into the course, or you can simply just email the link to the games out to your audience. So what I want to talk about today is the Training Arcade translation. So this is really great if you are a global company who has offices all over the world and you need your games translated into a variety of languages. So I'm going to share my screen real quick with you guys. And what I'm going to show you right now is the back end of the platform. So hopefully you guys can all see the Training Arcade backend. What you're looking at right now is the platform. So you'll see up here that says tga.thetrainingarcade.com. That's our platform. If you were to have a subscription to this, yours would be, whatever your company name is, .thetrainingarcade.com. You would have an administrator who would be able to log into the platform, and they would be able to see all the games they've ever built, which you're seeing along the lines here. They'd be able to go into the analytics and see whatever analytics they're looking to see of each of their games. There's also a leaderboard function. And then when it comes to building games, all you'd have to do is click on New Game and you select the game you want. We currently have 7 games in the arcade with more coming. But what I'm going to do right now is I actually created a game for the purposes of this webinar. So let me just get to that. And I added in questions already. And I'm going to show you how you can add in and translate to the languages that you want. So right now what you're looking at is the part of the game where you would build to just add in your company information. So what do you want to call it? So you'll see here I named this Translations Webinar 918, that's today, and it automatically populates that into the game URL. You'll also see here that you can pick a default language. So there are currently 11 languages in the Training Arcade today, and there are 4 more coming. If you predominantly speak English, but you want to translate into other languages, then you can select English US as your default language. And then later you can add the other languages in. So I'm going to keep that as English default right now. The other languages, just so you know, that are coming are Latin American Spanish. We've got French Canadian, traditional Chinese, and Korean. So those are 4 more languages that are going to be added to this list you see here of 11, which makes 15 different languages And if there are languages that you don't see here that are really important to your audience, certainly let us know, shoot me an email, and we can talk about how we can get those languages added for you. The next part of this is questions. So you'll see here, after you've built out, you've kind of added in all the pieces that you want for your game, you can click on the questions. And so for purposes of this webinar, I only put in 4 different questions. So you'll see here, the training arcade provides, I picked a multiple choice because you have different options of questions. And then I have a variety of different answers here. So in this case, it provides fun and engagement, robust analytics, a practice playground for your learners. The answer happens to be all of the above. You can include corrective feedback, etc. And then you can add in more questions. So I only have 4 questions in here right now, but what I want to show you is how do you translate that? So you'll see right now, let me move this little screen. You'll see right now that there's only English in here. If you want to add only 1 extra language, you can click on Add Translation, and then you can pick which language you want. So let's just say I wanted to add Portuguese. What it would do is it would automatically show me on the left side here the English version of what I wrote, and then you could manually type in the translations for each of the questions and answers and feedback into that particular language. But let's just say you wanted to add in more than 1 additional language. You would delete this feature, and instead you would click on the Translate Template function. And what that does is it brings up the ability for you to download a template file. And once you've done that, you can add in all the different translations for the languages that you want, and then re-upload that file here. So in preparation of this call, I already built this for you. So let me just get out of full screen mode for a second. And I'm going to pull up what happens here. So if I had clicked on download the translation template file, what it did is it would take in column B here, everything I had written for all my questions, answers, and feedback in English. And then it would show you a column for each of the additional languages that are here. For purposes of this game that I built, I only translated it into 3 additional languages. I translated it into German, into Portuguese, and into Italian. So let's say, I have this all ready to go, then I would take this template file and re-upload it. And one thing I want to say is that we purposely chose to not put a translating function into the platform like a Google Translate because it's not 100% accurate. And we feel like our clients know your content better, and you could have your own teams do the proper translations and upload those. So just wanted to give you a little bit of insight into that. Not to say that we wouldn't necessarily add in a translation feature in the future if we find one that's really, really accurate. So at this point now, you've seen what the document looks like. Now let's go ahead and actually upload it. So I'm going to take this feature here, and I'm going to click on Upload Template File. And I'm going to look in my files for what I've included. So, oops, let me see, where did I save that? No. Upload template file, sorry about that. Let's see where I saved it on the desktop. Here we go. Okay, so now you'll see that it uploaded successfully, and you'll see that it's showing it in German here. If I click on Portuguese, you'll see the translations are in Portuguese. If I click on Italian, you'll see that here in Italian. And if I wanted to add another language, I certainly could choose from the drop-down menu of what else is available. Okay, so now the translations are in. Well, let's take a look at what a game like that looks like once you have the translations in. So here we go. I'm gonna put this back on full screen mode. All right, so here's the game that we built. We built a jump game. We have 4 languages in the jump game, and you'll see up here, this is where your users, your audience, would pick what language is appropriate to them. So you can click on the drop down. If you wanna play this in English, you play it in English. If you wanna click it in German, watch what happens. It automatically changes the functionality and the language to German. If I change it to Portuguese, here we go. If I change it to Italian, and so forth. And what you'll see, I'll just leave this in Italian for a minute. As I click on the buttons, you'll notice that everything is translated from the instructions I put in, to the registration, to the tutorials, and so forth. And then when you go to play a game, which I'll just quickly show you here, you'll see that your questions are also in the proper language. So that's really it. It's a very simple functionality to get, to take the default language that you chose add in the different languages you want, and then have your users be able to pick the language that's appropriate to them so they can play in the language that's easiest for them to understand. There's so much more I can share with you about the Training Arcade platform, but the purpose of this webinar was really just to talk about translations. It's 12:10 now on the East Coast, so I'm going to leave the next couple of minutes to everyone here to see what kind of questions you may have. Please feel free to write questions in the Q&A, and I'll answer any of those for you. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Let me give you guys a minute. Any open questions, please type them in, and I'd be happy to answer. And if not, then I'm going to put my contact information up here for you to see as well. Okay, well, I don't see any questions. So thanks again, everyone. I really appreciate you tuning in to learn about translations. Please feel free to reach out to me with any questions. We're going to be having additional webinars, so look for your emails, in your emails for more on that. I think the next one we have is coming up on October 3rd, which is going to be all about our analytics dashboard. All right, everyone, thanks again. I'll send the recording out. Have a great day. Bye.